And tonight we wrapped up my route quite a bit early, like a day and a half early than I normally would be. It's running late this week. So we're in the TA truck stop, exit 50, right by the scale house on I-69 here in Seymour, Indiana. In my normal spot, as always, by the water tower. Before we get started, if you could like, share, and subscribe to the channel. As you know, we're trying to grow the channel, facilitate its expansion, and get more subscribers on, and we can have more discussions like this and many others. Oh, let's see. Oh yeah, don't forget. Also, when we get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, we're gonna do a giveaway for a bucket full of detailing supplies that you can take care of your personal vehicle, and or if you're a subscriber and a truck driver, take care of your semi truck. So keep that in mind and help like the videos, comment on them, subscribe to the channel. It all helps facilitate the growth and push it out there in the algorithm. So I don't have anything big on topic, but I heard this the other day from Bob Murphy. Him and his wife Deborah, they truck along as a team in a W900, and he said something that really rung my bell on why, and I talked about this the other night, and Tommy over at Trucking Unfiltered, he's hitting on it too. So both of us are hitting on it, and that is, why can't the state police and different in all the states, or the DOT, shut these foreign drivers down that are not showing they're showing a non-domicile CDL, a CDL that doesn't have their name on it, like there's no background behind it. They can't speak English, they can't write it. They're just here. It's one thing to have a smartphone or some kind of translation device or access to a person, but it doesn't help if you can't read the signs and know what you're doing out here, especially when you get into the heavy populated metropolitan towns. So I was trying to get it over on my tablet. I found the article, what Bob was talking about, and I can't get to it without bumping the live stream out. Basically, the FMCSA sets rules up. But they're rules. They're not a law. And to be a law, these rules get put on. I'm just going to generalize this very simply. They're being compiled, put on a plate, and then they're given off to Congress, votes on them, and I believe this year it's going to be September. Then they become a law. Once they're a law, so really, if you can't read, write, and speak the language here in America as a CDL truck driver, they can't put you out of service. They can't lock you up, jazz like that. But if the FMCSA, they set the rules, but to make them a law, these things have to be taken up to DC. Congress has to vote on them. I wouldn't put it past, it would behoove us to say this should become a law, and the certification for this rules to laws is going to be this September. I found the description, but I can't get it over here. It breaks it right down, and it is true. So FMCSA is just a bunch of rules, but they're not laws. So until Congress votes on it and makes it a law, then it's the law of the land across the states. Then the state and highway patrol, your DOT officers, then can enforce, and then can, if it was a law that you need to speak fluent English, read and write it, and if you can't, put you out of service, impound your truck, whatever it may take. So, but right now they can't do anything because it's just a rule. So anyhow, and make these licenses, these foreign drivers coming into the country or existing immigrants that have such a hodgepodge CDL that doesn't show, it's showing like non-domicile and no name. You know, that was the other thing that's been said, is a lot of these CDLs are seeing at the you know, the law enforcement's reporting on is there's no name on there, or if there is, it's just the same first and last name. So yeah, we need to get a hold of this shit quick, fast, and in a hurry. It's getting out of control. You know, one of these guys, I don't know what it was the other day. I was over there by the Pilot, just south of Salisbury, PA. They're at the 219 in the I-68 there in Maryland. Dude was walking the truck stop looking for a ride. He spoke broken English, so it was more like, because he was a white dude, probably like a Ukrainian type thing. I shoot him away. You know, I don't take no riders. I never have picked up hitchhikers. And the other thing too is picking up hitchhikers. You don't know what you're getting into these days if you think you're doing someone a justice. You know, it was a common practice in the 50s, 60s, 70s, but not anymore. And goes the same with the lot lizards that work the truck stops. You don't know if their pimp is out there watching over them in the distance. You know, once they get access in your truck, you know, they can hold you up, you know, steal your money. I've, you know, heard so many stories back in the 90s where guys were stabbed and bleeding out in their truck, being held up, you know, or shot, or getting lured away. You know, like they'll leave the truck stop and go to a hotel with this girl only to get ambushed by her pimp and his thugs. So things to keep in mind, you know, rules of the road. That only comes from experience of being out here. Been around the block long enough. I see what I see. I say what I got to say, and that's it. I give props to Tommy. I've been following Tommy, and if you get over on Tommy's channel there at Trucking Unfiltered, you'd see some of the drama going on. But then you would say, you know, when you and I think he is exactly right. Too many of us put too many of these YouTubers up on a pedestal, thinking, you know, their word is the you know, the Bible. A lot of these guys it's a lot of stuff's coming out on a few of these guys. They're not really true to what they say or do. But you know, you got to step and walk with caution and walk with some knowledge of you know, who you surround yourself with and where you get your information and knowledge from. We've been very blessed, my wife and I, to upscale our knowledge and intake on finances, economic, and investing. It's been a blessing and help from many people that put the time and work into a lot of these channels to bring you, you know, whether it's the daily report of the markets, you know, top tiered news and stuff like that, things that get masked over or pushed aside because the mainstream media, their job is to let you only hear what you need to hear and not what you want to hear, because of their or their narrative and agenda. But I've learned a lot with investing, where to invest, and we're going to be going forward with many of that. But I'd have to say, you really gotta watch some of this stuff, because a lot of it is clickbait on these YouTube channels. I don't set up the thumbnails or try to clickbait you guys to come over, listen and watch me or anything like that. Hey, I'm just staying genuine. I'm not out here to say I'm some super trucker. I've got some gleaming, beaming, you know, high-end truck. I'd love to have my dream truck. My dream truck's a W900. I'd love to have one. I told my wife today, I wish I had the leverage to be able to, because this is the last year for the W900 for the Kenworth. It's out at the end of this year. When they get into the fourth quarter this year, what they're saying is they're going to do a countdown, and the last 1,000 W900s are going to be the legacy W9s going out, and they're going to start at 1,000 and go down to the last one going out at number 1 in the legacy. And you're going to recognize them because the Kenworth, the K and the W, is going to be crooked or offset to each other on the hood badge, steering wheel, and anywhere where the KW logo is. They're going to put some other things in there too, that's going to set it apart from all the other Kenworths, and of course the 100th edition. But other than that, I hear it from guys at work. Oh, it's too much of a wheelbase. Can't get around. Can't do this. I always hear the negative of you can't. And it's like, give me the short wheelbase plastic dildo turd to get around. You know what? I've heavy hauled. I've gotten into tight areas, delivering 8-axle trailers going the wrong way, backing down, a one-way going the wrong way, backing down into schoolyards, hauling playground material, landscape mulch in tight, into Detroit. I had a hooded truck. Always had a hooded truck until, this time around. But anything's possible. It's your experience of being able to work that truck. And just too many guys, they just don't want to be challenged. They want life so easy peasy. They want their brain relaxed, and don't make me think, don't make me forward think, and jazz like that. Everything I do out here for what I do for this company, I can do it with the 389P, 379P, W900. Doesn't matter. It can get done. It's just that these, too many of these guys just don't want to be challenged. Give me an automatic and give me a sloped hood plastic truck. And please don't make me be challenged and make my job hard and blah, blah, blah. So that's the crap you hear day in and day out. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the Cascade's a good fleet truck, but it's not definitely the truck of my choice. It's just the truck I fucking deal with because that's the company truck and I'm a company employee. But I can tell you, if I was to go in the direction of having my own equipment or having a say-so on my own equipment, with a different tier of a company, then I'd be taking a hooded truck and speccing it the way I want. I know how to spec a truck. I got an associate's degree in heavy truck diesel mechanics. I've been since 1989 a licensed master mechanic, truck driver from about the same amount of time, and so I know these trucks inside and out, from setting up the axle size, the gearing, transmission, 13 liter, 15 liter. That's basically your go-to for these Class 8 trucks. What horsepower, and it all depends. You're going to set and spec these trucks up for the type of work you're looking to do. If you're going to do heavy haul, you're not going to put this plastic dildo in front of a Hammett, like multi-axle, multi-pivot RGNs and doing over-dimensional loads. You tear this truck in half, let alone, you got to have a truck with a grill. That's why the hood. So you got a bigger radiator, keep it coolant, because sometimes these guys got pusher trucks behind the loads, getting them down the road too. So and especially when you get into the heavy excavators and rock trucks and all that other stuff, where you could be grossing out 150,000. Of course you're going to be permitted to do that, transporting that on an RGN and all that jazz. But I just find it hilarious that everyone lives and breathes these damn plastic trucks. I'd rather be doing, if I moved out of this, I'd said the only thing that's going to make money outside of where I'm at right now, if you were to get out there, is right now step deck. One guy from Bennett told me, he goes, RGNs are dead right now. We're in a recession, so imports and exports of agriculture and construction equipment is dead. He goes, Baltimore is the biggest port in the United States for roll-on, roll-off equipment. It's not containers, it's roll-on, roll-off equipment, whether it's cars, farming equipment, construction equipment, what have you. And the RGNs are lined up and down the coast right now there in Maryland. Nothing's moving. And then when you're in a recession, it's even slower. And then wintertime, it's slow. He goes, don't rely on RGN to be doing making you a solid paycheck. The good diversified open, is the open deck, step deck. And he's got the Renator step. He said there was 2 versions of that. One had the smaller wheel. I forget the size. I want to say his was the little bit taller. There was like a foot difference between one to the other. I think he was at 3.5, 2.5 feet off the ground on the step portion. But he goes, when you go even lower, you got a smaller wheel. But he goes, the problem is you blow those tires out way more often, and you burn the wheel bearings out way more often, because the smaller diameter wheel is spinning faster, generates more heat, and of course generates more heat on the tire. But not only that, the wheel bearing and hub. And he goes, you'd be surprised how many times you got to change out axles because the spindles are burned up too. So just stuff like that. And it's good to talk to guys like that, guys that are out here doing it just as long as I have, to get their perspective, their take on the industry, whether it's new regulations and policies to their experience, what they like, didn't like, what they're doing now to wrap up their career and go out the door. Like I said, if I stayed in it and moved forward, and I told my wife, I said I'd love to have her out here. It would really pass the time. And to have her in the truck, but I said if we did that, I said I would go step deck, and I would probably position ourselves to where I would base myself out of like Arizona or something. That way in the winter months we can just get loads in the down in the south and run along that southern border, because I really like to I just stay away from the salt and the snow and the ice and all the crap that comes with everyone playing bumper cars and driving like total idiots. I mean, it's America. Everyone drives like idiots, like they're all foreigners. So they all got to have a phone implanted in their hand, because, go in a restaurant and see how many people are down staring at their phone, rude to the waitress, and just all around. That's why I think retail is going out, not only because of Amazon and all this other stuff, because yeah, it is Amazon and all this other stuff, because of all the online stuff. Everyone would rather just make a quick click and then go back scrolling and talking about how wonderful and great their life is, and look at me, and I'm so great and positive, and nothing goes wrong, and I just fart rainbows and pixie dust all day. And yet, social media will hide the ugliest truth on people. And I'm just saying this because if Tommy watches this video, he'd probably get a chuckle out of it. But yeah, people really portray themselves non-genuinely on a platform like this, because they want it to be a family channel. They want to portray themselves as this good guy. And I got thick skin, and outside of here, you'll hear me F-bomb on here. It did now in this live stream, and I've done in others. I'm way worse in public. I got the trucker mouth, and yeah, I don't hold back out here. I'll call shit out the way it is. I don't care if you're 6'6". It just, you need to be told, man. You got to be confrontational and walking up and telling people, hey, you're fucking up. You're doing it wrong and shit like that. And this new generation of what you want to say, millennials and Gen Zs, they're big talking keyboard warriors behind the phone and the computer and all that, but confrontational, those guys will shrivel up like a prune and cry like a newborn baby if they're ever physically threatened, in front. And of course, well, I'll sue. Dude, you want to sue me and I go to jail? Fine, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to bust the fuck my damn foot right off your jaw. And whether you're sipping out of a straw or you're going to have a fucking plastic jaw when I get done, just shit like that. Yeah, is that me being violent and physical and all that? I don't put up with people shit that way. that's just me. Well, why you got to be violent? Why you got to be physical like that? I don't care, man. I take care of me, and I take care of my family, and I'm sure not going to be sitting here and pointing my fingers and talk and talk and playing love taps on pushing the chest, dude. I'd drop you like a bad fucking habit. We're well we're well suited around the house. If you want to come and attack us, bring a fucking bazooka and a tank. That's all I got to say. Because it's not, and if I had the house right now, it'd be one reason. But if I had a ranch or a house in the country, I'd probably have one or two pressers for sure. And those would be some one mean motherfucking dogs that are way above the pit bulls and the Rottweilers. So they're trained just to do that. The military uses them. Many high-end, I want to say, commercial and residential people use these dogs. So they're very, you're talking, anywhere from $5,500 to $10,000 per dog. So anyhow, yeah. And all smoke and mirrors, and yeah, and it's these people manipulate the algorithm by portraying themselves to be all this. They articulate around the way they speak and talk on YouTube because they can get the algorithm going that way. And I know I kill my algorithm. I come right out of the gate, and I'm just like a clapped out drag racing car. I just come right out of the start line. The tree turns green, I go, and man, I'm unfiltered all the way down to the end. And you know what though? That's what you get from me, and that's what people should be portraying themselves. But no, I gotta work the algorithm because I need that money. At the end of it, it's just say it. You're trying to build your channel up so you can get that money, make it big. But man, unplug these people from social media and get to see the true them. I'll bet you're going to see a different side. Some may be nicer than they portray themselves on YouTube, man. They may hype themselves to be some big tough guy, and in real life, they're the biggest softcore pussy you ever seen. I am who I am here, and I am who I am when you meet me. Do me dirty, and you'll bring the monster out. Just do me dirty. My wife, she's known, when I'm done dirty, I will F you over or F you up. So I don't take it lying down. I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to press charges. Dude, I will just pull you out of your fucking house and beat you up and down the front yard of your place. That's just the way it is. I don't know. I'm just old school that way, but I just think today, and it's just funny because this weekend, just some stuff went down on another channel, and it's hilarious to hear how people portray themselves over here in this unicorn, rainbow, pixie dust world, and then over here, their whole fucking life at home is a bigger hot mess than this, like they're running themselves right through a wood chipper. And it's just, it's just ground up, tore up, and, they're trying to piece everything together to make it look good over here. And in all reality, it is not. And, no, I've been with my wife. We started dating July of 2011. We're coming up on 13 years of marriage. Hey, I've been helped taking care of my wife. She's got medical issues. I take care of her. We take care of each other, but for the most part, a lot of the physical work around the house that needs to be done, I keep up with it. But eventually, we'd like to get rid of this, what I call clapped out house, manufactured home. It's a good starter home, but we both know we want out of there. It is not a long-term home, but it's gotten us on our feet financially instead of renting. I have put blood, sweat, and tears into the, renovations on that home, and there isn't a spot on that house I haven't had my hands in with a miter saw, circular saw, any kind of damn saw, hammer, shit, caulk gun, everything. The only thing I haven't really done, I paid a roofer to come in because he was bonded and licensed, so that way it'd stay with the insurance, and I paid a couple different guys that do electrical work. I don't do the the higher end 220 electrical. I let those guys handle it, because I'm not gonna get my ass knocked down for what I don't know I shouldn't be playing with. But everything else I've done. Gas, natural gas lines I've replaced. The hot water heater, I did have a furnace company come in, but you know, everything. Woodworking, finish work, crown molding, base molding, wheelchair ramp, 3 decks, you know, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and that's redoing the plumbing in the bathroom. 4 bedrooms. We did do all 4 bedrooms. We got the kitchen and living room to finish off with some painting and some touch-ups before we decide to sell down the road. But I'm not gonna. I'm tired out of working on the place. I come home, I'm like, what is the rewards of owning a home? You know, it's like, what a money pit, and you're just constantly working on it. You know, you think, man, everyone's like, I want a new car. I've worked hard and I should have a new car. For me, it's like, my car sits 4 or 5 days. I get in, I drive 17 miles home, and I drive 17 miles back to work once a week, 1 round trip, 34 miles. And I'm like, why am I going to have a car payment? And I watched so many guys rag me about that. And I'm like, you keep paying your fucking car payments while it's sitting there for days, man. I'm not fucking doing it. All my vehicles are paid off. So, I still have my student loan debt, though, from going to school to be a chiropractor. That's dwindled down. That was, God almighty, it was almost $150,000 of student loan debt back when my wife met me, and I think we're down around low 30s now. So we're moving. I think we've paid, since 2018, I know we've paid $150, almost $200,000 of debt down. And that's just hammering. That's not doing anything stupid, buying stupid shit, or leveraging up, you know, on new loans or anything. It's just paying off debt. So, yeah. Anyhow, comment in here. I see a few of you have dropped in. The sun's still setting out in the distance. I have to keep you reeled in. We're also a godly family, and we're not ashamed of that. But we're not going to just protect ourselves. We're not going to, you know, we're not going to be sitting there and not protect ourselves. You know, my wife has got me on. Let me just step right here. And, man, I got that fridge packed. So she asked me if I do this, and, you know, both of us, like she said there, we're godly people. She sent me a prayer. I say this prayer every night, and then I do a commune every night. The bread's on top. So I do that every night. And we say, you know, she says a prayer for me. I say that prayer every night, and I take this. I started that this week. And, you know, I'm trying to get my psyche and my mental in a spiritual sense, because of all the demonic stuff that has gone on since COVID has dropped. And for the last 5 years, I've just seen such satanic and demonic things going on in this world, and people just going full goose bozo out there, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, X, wherever, even here on YouTube, and you're just like, man, what is the dinner table like at that family's place? And that has got to be that is a lot of psychobabble out there. I'm more, you know, my wife and I are more traditionalist. We just like our solitude when we're together. We don't need to be at the bar, the club. You know, we have a detailing business, so I do auto detailing from cars, trucks, RVs. That's already getting booked up last week when I was home. So I got some ceramic coats coming, and then I just looked at an article, because I use System X ceramic coating. So they're coming out with a new ceramic coat that is for industrial use, so agricultural and construction equipment. And it's supposed to have a thicker coating, stronger UV protection, because, you know, a lot of those compact tractors you buy, you'll see the hoods, the plastic hoods fade usually within a few years. And so that, and it's supposed to have better scratch resistance. So I'm going to look into that a little bit more, because that would be, see if that's going to be comparable to put on like an RV. Because they sit a lot, and they get a lot of weathering and UV exposure. So I already got a 40 foot to take care of. That's going to be 40-foot long, or 35-foot long, 8-foot wide, 35-foot long, another 8-foot. So I got to make that square. I got to do a round of cutting, a round of polish, and then a round of final finish. And I'm putting a paint sealant on it, and I'm not going to ceramic coat that one, but yeah. So getting sun's going down quicker now. Anybody got anything to say out there? I mean, I'm open for discussion. I mean, if you want to critique me, call me an SOB, whatever you guys want to put out there, put it in the comments after, this live stream's over. I try to keep up on many things. For me to really absorb everything in the FMCSA and all the rules and policies going on in this industry. Also, I've got AMSOIL dealership where am a dealer for AMSOIL, selling oils, lubricants, and all that. I've got my stock brokerage through TradeView and Swing Trading, and then I've got the detailing, and then in the detailing, it's umbrellaed with Jax Wax and ceramic coat from System X, and all that marketing. So yeah, I keep busy. And everyone, people have said, why do you got to work so much? Because we're going in a recessionary period, and I hedge myself. So if this truck goes from 60, 70 hours a week down to 20, 30 hours a week, I got a way to cash flow and offset without having to sit and worry about, oh my God, what am I going to do? The cash is drying up, the money is drying up coming in. I just pivot and stare at another entity to cash flow in. I've set myself up like that because I told my wife, I promised her we would never get in that position we did 12 years ago, 13 years ago, when she lost her job and my hours got cut, and then layoffs hit, and that's in healthcare. What a shit show that was. But we'll see. I think they've been saying this recession, when it comes, it's going to be short-lived, and when they're saying short-lived, 3-4 quarters, so a year or less. So we'll see. So you just got to keep your head on the swivel, watch everything. Don't banknote anything. Don't go out and take loans out for a new car. If you are positioned to get a house, then get a house. That's one thing I will say from one guy. There's a lot of realtors or real estate agents out there. Man, those guys are the biggest shit show, along with car salesmen. It's always a great time to buy. Geez, this one guy really articulates well when you should and shouldn't be buying, and even if he doesn't get the sale, but he'd rather be more of an honest guy, and that's Javier Vidana out of Phoenix there. He's got great information. It's good generally for anyone in the United States. He only works in the Phoenix area, but he gives out good foundational information for either a new home buyer or a new home seller. If you got maybe a family member, like my wife and I have parents, they're sitting on their houses for decades. So, if they were to position to sell or a position for one of us to be buying, he gives good sound information. So it's things like that. You just got to keep your head on the swivel all the time. So other than that, what I've been at this for 34 minutes. Wow. Really blabbing along here. I did stop at the Buc-ee's in Richmond, Kentucky today. So, are you still in there, Miss Laura? Say yes, you are. Tell me in the chat if you're still in there. You can hear me or whatever. So, hopefully that's what you wanted. So, got you the our dogs kind of confiscated the other Buc-ee's fleece blanket. And so I grabbed that. I pulled into the Buc-ee's. There is a farm field and a service drive by it. So you got to turn around using the access road running along the service road by the farm field. Just turn around. You can park. You can't go into the Buc-ee's with your truck, obviously. But I pulled in there. I grabbed a couple sliced briskets, her blanket, and jetted out of there. So I try to stop in there. Man, I'll tell you what, take me back to Texas, because man, there isn't a spot in Texas when we've been down to Denton and Austin and all that. It just seems like you can't go anywhere down there without smelling the Tex-Mex or the barbecue and the briskets down there. It's just like it's almost the state flower smell. But it was really the be in there, and it's just like, man, I just feel like I'm back in Texas when you smell the inside of that Buc-ee store. But so yeah, I had one before the live stream. Yeah, other than that, I got to get up at 2:30 in the morning. I'm just gonna get up on my 10-hour, and because I want to get around. I'm about an hour south of Indianapolis. I want to get around that turd show in the morning. So the sooner you can just keep the cruise control on and just circle around the bypass, and then I'll just come out on 69 North towards Fort Wayne. Once I'm past the 214 mile marker there where the Loves is on 69, then you pretty much you got the traffic beat. But if you can get through there like 4 or 5 in the morning before 6, you're winning. So traffic's usually not bad at all. So get back to the yard, see if there's anything on the plate to haul or hook to. If not, I got a shit ton of stuff I can be doing at home. And yeah, that blanket, yeah. And one lady was sitting there feeling the example fleece blanket up there, and that she's standing in front of it, and I'm like, move. And I grabbed one. I said, I already know what I want. Just let me take one. You go figure out if you want this or not. But yeah, it wasn't a bad price. I think I walked out. The briskets, man, those briskets, they're stacked with meat on there, I'll tell you that. But they're about $8.50 per brisket. I grabbed 2. I'm like, Buc-ee's is a treat for me. We don't go out to dinner at all at home, and I've really backed off. I used to drink almost a gallon of bourbon a month, and I don't think I've gone through a gallon in the last, would you say, pretty close to a year now that I haven't. I've just, I don't want to say I'm cold turkey and I stopped drinking. I just don't drink anymore. And if I do, it's usually just bourbon on ice, a couple shots. I'm really not getting stupid anymore. It used to be a day 5 years ago where I could sit down at the dinner table with a 6-pack of beer, pound that down with a dinner, but I haven't drank beers. I stopped drinking that in December of 22, and I've just backed off my drinking for my health and for my wife, because I just can't think of her being out here in this world without me, and she's got to get through life without me, and she's got medical issues and all that, and to leave her kind of like, say, stranded on this planet, yeah, there's some obligation, but I just said, this isn't that. She's trying to do everything healthy she can to get out of the pain she's in, and I'm over here self-destructing and running like a dumpster fire when I'm eating and drinking. I'm like, yeah, I gotta make a change. So I've done it. I didn't have to go to 12-step counseling or any of the other shit. Just looked at myself in the mirror and said, gotta change, see you, goodbye, and I quit on it. Have my coffee. I guess my only vice I got is, man, I gotta have my coffee in the morning. If it's noon and I haven't had a coffee, you're probably gonna get the ornery side of me. But for the most part, life's good, and it's treating us good. We're very blessed. We're blessed to be able to have situational awareness and just self-awareness of things around us going on, and how to adjust our lives financially and spiritually for our relationship, so we don't deteriorate our relationship over just bad decisions. And so I'm gonna wrap it up here because it's going on 40 minutes. One thing I will say too is with some of these channels, I've seen that and there are a lot of channels that do it, and there's one that we watch together, my wife and I, but he has stopped doing that. He's slowed down or stopped doing this. But I've seen a lot of channels where and you'll see it in the TikTok and the short reels too, These dudes will exploit their girlfriends, fiancés, or wives in such a sexual manner. Whether they got them dressed up as, in tight clothes, scantily clad clothes, anything to draw viewers, clicks, likes, But dude, you're whoring out your girl to build your channel, and I'm sorry, but that's disrespectful, because that's not looking at her as a lady and a woman and a mother of your children, or the woman of your household, the wife of your home. Remember, you can buy a house, but that woman's going to turn that house into a home. And I will say that to exploit them out on social media in a sexual way to get that is, I'm sorry, but your wife's never going to get the respect that someone like my wife would, or other people's wives. She's been shown on the videos here, but not in a way like that ever, and I minimize it. She's not comfortable being on here, and I respect that. I think most of the time that she was on here was basically that Texas trip. That was a pretty big deal for us, because we're still in the exploratory phases of trying to get her pain, neurological pain, pinpointed and dialed in. So, but overall, yeah, dude, and I'm gonna say this to all you guys: if you're gonna be a man or a gentleman with class, don't exploit your woman. Give her the respect she deserves and needs, and don't put them out there. That stuff should be for your eyes only, behind closed doors, not for the rest of the world to see. So that's me in a nutshell, giving advice there on that part. So until next time, folks, I'm going to sign off here and say stay safe, continue educating yourself, because knowledge is learned, not taught, and we will see you all in the next video.